Hey guys, welcome back to the Girlfriends and Goals podcast YouTube channel. My name is Samaria and I am joined by my best friend and co-host Miyosha. And today we are doing an Am I the A-hole reaction video. The topic is just general family issues.
hmm
So let us know in the comments what you guys think about these scenarios. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. All
Yep.
right, let's jump into the first one. So
Mm.
this one says, am I the a-hole for telling my fiance she's selfish for not letting extended family move in? So I'm a 30-year-old male. I've been with my fiance, 28, for 7 years, and we currently don't have any kids. We do plan on trying in the next year or so. My fiance just graduated from her RN program, so a lot's been on hold since she was in school. Recently, me and my two younger siblings had to put our mother in a nursing home because of Alzheimer's. Both of my siblings, both my siblings and nephew have lived with my mom all their lives. My 26-year-old brother has severe autism and anxiety, while my sister is a young mom to a 4-year-old who's been hopping jobs, needing my mom's support.
Mm.
Their dad, who's not my dad, lives states away and hasn't offered to help or take them in during this time, which leaves me as the oldest sibling to fix things. While my fiance is aware of everything that's going on, before we even started talking about arrangements, she told me, don't even think about moving everyone in here. I told her she needs to consider what my family is going through, and she seemed to have no empathy. She started throwing out how my sister has always been codependent on my mom with her kid, and that it's not our problem to fix. I've never sensed my fiance truly loved my sister, but she's been cordial. She also said my siblings are too grown to be depending on their brother, especially since I plan to get married and have children in the next couple of years. We do have two spare bedrooms, one which my fiance wanted to make an office, but I said that could possibly wait since I'm strongly considering them moving in for just a year. A year. My fiance said within that year we'd most likely never marry and that the dream family we planned on having wouldn't happen. I told her, of course, I charge my siblings rent because we did just move. She told me
Mm.
that was BS because neither of them have good jobs, and that was the reason they never moved out of my mom's to begin with. She also thinks a year is far too long, and most likely we wouldn't be able to get them out. I asked her, what is the point of marriage if we can't make sacrifices together? A big reason I'm marrying her is because how thoughtful and religious she is. But I'm seeing a whole different person when we talk about this. I told her she was selfish AF for not understanding, and I know she would move her siblings in if the situation was reversed. She says, I'm selfish for throwing our future family's plans down the drain and supporting grown adults. Am I the a hole?
Ooh,
That's a lot.
that is a lot. Where do we even start? All right. My initial reaction is you're not the a-hole
Mm,
for wanting to help your family, but I do think you are the a-hole for automatically saying, I'm planning on moving them in for a year.
okay.
Yeah. What's your initial thoughts? I have so much in my head.
So it doesn't seem like he could even bring it up. It seems like she saw where this was going and stopped it before he could even get the wheels turning. And so I get where he's coming from. He's the
Yeah.
oldest sibling, the mom with the Alzheimer's, like the autistic brother. Like there's a lot going on. And so he's not the a-hole because he's really trying to be considerate of his family. And there's just a lot going on. And I know when things are going on like that, there needs to be a person, anybody who like stands up and says, okay, here's what we're gonna
hmm
do. Um, so I feel for him for sure. And I can also understand him feeling like she's not really supporting my family and what I need to do. So I feel a lot of empathy towards him. I want to start there. I also get if she's 28 years old, that it's not an ideal situation when you're like starting out your life. It's not an ideal situation to have so many people in your house. Like you're trying to sort out your own family. And so there has to be some type of balance from him with helping his family, but also considering his fiance, right? Um,
Yeah, and this isn't a situation where maybe these are three people who
yeah,
seemingly have the potential to just need a help for a period of time.
yeah,
And then they just need help to float them through. That doesn't sound like this situation. You have a 26-year-old with severe autism, and then a young sister,
22
a
year
young
old.
mom who
Mm-hmm.
has a 4-year-old. She's 22 years old.
Yeah,
And so I think from the fiance's perspective is if we let them in our home, what is the game plan to get them out?
yeah,
And we can't be naive in thinking that if we're their only hope right now, who's their hope in a
it's gonna
year?
change. Yeah, absolutely.
Realistically, what will change? And I also think from her perspective, being like the woman of the home, she's assuming a pretty big responsibility
Responsibility.
from the
Yeah,
gate of two adult people and one small child. And she
yeah.
hasn't even started to entertain the idea of actually getting pregnant.
Mm,
One, y'all aren't married yet. So
yeah,
realistically, you're asking a person who's a girlfriend to maybe take on being a caregiver, caretaker a
yeah.
bit, and y'all haven't even actively done anything about being married.
And
Or is that to come?
I'll say like, especially if they want to start their own family soon. I know for me, it's like if I'm getting ready to do something maybe in the next 2 years, I don't want to be bombarded by it now. Like that's my 2 year plan, you
Mm.
know? So no, I don't want to babysit your kids, or no, I don't want to live with your kids or be around them all. Love them when I see them, gay, gay. Those are my people. But I wouldn't necessarily want one living in the home with me. I think he needs to ask his brother. I don't know how much his brother works because it doesn't say that. But I think he needs
Mm.
to sit down with his brother and sister and ask them what their game plan is, because they are of a certain age where he shouldn't have to be the one figuring out the game plan.
Mhm.
So I think like he should put it on them, be like, what are you guys planning on doing? I am here to assist, but I can't take the whole burden on. That way it's on them to decide what they want to do, and he can still be of assistance. It's just not him figuring everything out.
And they're going from his mom's home
Mhm.
to their home.
Mm.
And so it's like, okay, well,
Yeah.
when were things supposed to move forward? It
Mhm.
kind of took a bigger situation happening for them
Yeah.
to be in a place of like, oh, we may have to actually be
Yeah.
able to support ourselves. Um,
The 22-year-old is really young, so I can understand her still needing a place to stay, but the thing is you're also a mother, and it's like that's an additional responsibility that you carry. So you're not a 22-year-old who maybe just went off to school and you're coming back or whatever.
mhm.
I think there's a difference there. But it seems like you're bringing on a whole lot of responsibility.
And I also think he says, "Oh, well, she's not even trying to hear what I have to say. I feel like she's not considering my family." But I also think the poster is being a bit naive in exactly what he's asking of her.
I think he is, but I can also understand the okay, I just want you to hear me out. Like I can also
Mm.
understand wanting her to be like, I know you want to take on this load. I just want you to see that it's not realistic. You're asking too much of me and I need you to do another way. Like
Mhm.
it seems like he's just looking for her to say something like that. And hopefully
Mhm.
that'll be enough for him. But he feels like he's not getting any empathy from her, which I can understand because he's going through so much. And he probably feels like I just had to make a big decision moving my mom out of her home. He's probably in big decision mode. Like, I just had to make this big decision. Now I have to make this big decision. And I think it takes a little bit of empathy to get in there and be like, hey, but you don't have to make this big decision because
Mhm.
they grown. And so let's help them without assuming all the responsibility.
Yeah. And this fiance, it says that she just graduated from her RN program. So a lot has been on hold. So from her perspective, she's thinking like, oh, I'm just about to start my life.
Ready,
And
yes.
now I get hit with this. And I
Yeah.
will say, towards the end, she was jumping to say, like, oh, well, our future plans of our dream family. I think she's panicking a bit, like, oh my God, what am I about to sign up for? Will
Yeah.
my dream family even be a reality? What did
Yeah.
she say? I don't even think within a year we probably won't even get married. But yeah, I think she's panicking a bit. And I think she also wants some reassurance that their own plans and individual lives won't be so significantly impacted by this potential big responsibility. Like, I don't know, maybe there's some reassurance that he could provide. But I could understand her perspective of we don't even have kids yet ourselves, yet we have three people that we're moving into our home. And if you're able to charge them rent, if it were me, I would even say, okay, I'll send y'all some money each month. We could split it three ways until y'all are able to fully assume it before I would probably move all of them in.
Absolutely.
So
And I agree with the reassurance. Like I think he's so head in the clouds that he's not reassuring her the way that she needs to. I don't think he's realizing what he's taking away from her, by suggesting what he's suggesting. And I think she also feels like because she said that's BS, I think she also fears that he won't even enforce the rent thing. Like I think she
that
sees
it
him as
gets
being naive,
it
which
gets very sticky. You
yeah.
moving people in your house. How do you get them out? How do you
Mhm.
get them to pay rent? Are you going
Yeah,
to sign a sublease agreement? Like, how does that even work?
absolutely.
Yeah, y'all
Mm.
let us know what y'all think about that one. That's a tough one. Ooh,
This one is a tough because I can see both sides, but ultimately, I don't think the people need to move in. That's kind of tough.
yeah.
All right.
And y'all aren't even married yet. Mhm.
Right.
That
Next one.
All right. All right. We'll get into the next one. Would I be the a-hole if I told my friend she's not a good mom? Now,
You don't make comments on people's mothering.
oh my gosh, that's a bold statement. My best friend is my best friend is basically my soul sister. We've supported each other through so much, and we've discussed our relative childhood traumas in great detail. Our parents were neglectful and abusive in similar ways. She has three boys, 2, 5, and 8. I have a 3-month-old, and I'm pregnant with a girl. We consider each other's kids our nephews, and they call each other auntie. My friend is burnt out. Her husband does very little to help with the kids and usually only steps in to serve as a final resort to scare the boys into compliance. As a result of being burnt out, she sequesters herself in the kitchen on her phone and gates a toddler in the living room while the TV babysits him literally all day long. He frequently stands at the gate and wails for her, and she mostly ignores him. She makes sure he's fed, watered, and clean, but it's clear he wants her attention too. The older boys are at school during the day, and when they come home, they're given about 30 minutes to decompress in front of the TV. They then are expected to clean up the living room before they are set up to play video games until bedtime. They aren't really provided proper dinner, mostly things like mac and cheese, peanut butter sandwiches, ramen, or cereal. They're not picky kids, so it's not a matter of feeding them what they'll eat. When they try to get her attention, she snaps at them and makes no effort to hide the fact that they're bothering her. She doesn't indulge their rambled stories, blocks them out as much as she can, responds to any behavioral problems at the top of her lungs, yelling. She's extremely gentle with my son because she knows that that's my parenting style, even though he's very typical, read non-compliant and stubborn 3-year-old. So it's clear she's capable of taking that approach. She just doesn't make an effort to do so with her own kids. She talks often about how she's breaking the cycle for her kids, that they won't grow up feeling unwanted and unloved by their mom like she did, that they will always feel safe with her. And I can't help but silently disagree. I see her kids walking on eggshells, emotionally neglected, completely checked out at home. I don't judge her at all. I'm sorry. I don't judge her at all. I know she went 26 years before come to terms with the fact that her childhood was abusive, that she's been through a lot since her oldest son was born, and that she receives minimal help. But same with me. I'm a single mom. My son's arrival was extremely traumatic, and I was treated by my parents in ways I'll never be able to forgive. But I'm active and engaged with my son when he comes home from daycare. I give him endless snuggles even when I don't want to. I raise my voice sometimes, but not regularly at all. It comes from a place of pure love and care. But would I be the a-hole if I told my friend she's not doing as good of a job as she thinks that she is, and that she needs to get help before she does irreversible damage to her kids' relationship with her?
I think I don't think she's the messenger for this message. I think she does sound judgmental. Granted, this is a Reddit post, so I don't think she would say half these things to her friend's face. I would at least hope not. But for starters, she has 1 3-year-old. Her
Mm-hmm.
friend has 3 boys. And so I do think it's coming off as judgy. I think it's coming off as, well, I'm a single mom and I can handle all this and I'm so gentle and I'm so this, but you're not in her shoes. You don't know what it's like to have 3 of these kids around, and she's probably feeling the neglect from their father as well. Like, you just don't know. I don't think she's the one who needs to give this message, because it, at least from this post, is coming off as very high and mighty, superior. I'm talking down on you. And this is a sensitive topic. So I just don't think she's the right one.
And how do you know so much about their day to day? That's where my head goes first.
Because they're soulmates, she said.
I mean, I get it, but I think if you were to take a peek into anyone's home on a random day and you see, oh, you gave your kids chicken nuggets and mac and cheese for dinner, is it you're seeing this every day? And even the fact that you're calling that out, I'm sorry.
Right. Because, okay, she's like, she makes sure they're fed, they're clean, and
Watered.
something else.
She
And
said
what?
watered.
Water. Like they're plants. But it's like she's doing a lot well. And so I think it's just very it's a very delicate situation. I don't know.
Yeah, and was she like this? Because she has an 8-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
Her hands are clearly very full. Was she like this with the 8-year-old, the 5-year-old, or is this a recent thing where adding the addition put her under even more stress? I mean, I completely understand you not being in alignment with maybe the way that she's choosing to parent fully, but what would you think would come from this conversation?
Exactly.
And even if you were to broach it,
Mhm.
you definitely can't talk about what she's feeding them, the TV time. I think you're getting too much in the details.
Honestly, like, a lot of kids eat mac and cheese. A lot of kids eat ramen. A lot of kids eat peanut butter sandwiches. Like, what if she doesn't know how to cook a whole lot of other things? Okay, if you want to help, maybe cook dinner and bring it by her house and have a conversation then, or something. Like, I just
And everybody knows, I mean, with 3 kids, you can't tell me that at least one of them isn't picky. So maybe she's learned, okay, I can be in here slaving away, cooking all these great home cooked meals
Mhm.
that only one out of the 3 will eat, 2 out of the 3 will eat.
Right.
Your oldest is 3, her oldest is 8. So maybe she's found what's worked for her.
Been
This
in
is just
the
such a delicate situation,
room. Now,
where I don't know that she's the a-hole. I just
she
think
would
that
be. If
if
her
she
choice of,
actually said it, yeah.
yeah, if her choice of words was, "You're not a good mom. You're not doing as good of a job as you think you are." Like, I don't know. I had a friend recently who told a family member, or just like tried to coach a family member on
Mhm,
something, just to point it out to them and said it in the most delicate way, you know?
mhm.
And the person pretty much said, when you have yours, they can do that all they want, but mine ain't gonna do it. And so it's a very sensitive area to have a conversation,
And
even if
every
it's
child
right.
is different. I mean, you may have a 3-year-old, but that doesn't mean that it's equal to the 2, the 5, and the 8-year-old. Like, the personalities are different.
Yeah.
Um
And she's had more time, like, so the lady has an 8-year-old.
mhm,
So she had more time before deciding to have at least 5 more years. So whereas maybe her friend started learning on the job how she doesn't say what their ages are and when she had the 8-year-old. She said she just found out at 26 that she had a traumatic childhood. So if she just found out that she had a traumatic childhood while raising the now 8-year-old, she was already behind the curve. Like, you had an opportunity to know this stuff maybe before even having your first child. So
mhm.
you were able to do some work before having kids that she had to do as on the job training.
Yeah, mommyhood burnt out is a very common thing.
Yeah.
This is not unique. And I would say if you ever decided to broach the conversation, possibly be prepared for there to be some
Issues.
feedback. Yeah, that you maybe don't want to hear, issues in the friendship. Um, and you definitely cannot list out everything that you did here because you definitely sound judgmental.
You know what I would do? Maybe like find a podcast, a YouTuber, and be like, "Oh, girl, I know since we're trying to work on parenting better, I watched this video.
Hmm.
Go ahead and watch it." While she locks her kid in the living room while he screams for her, maybe she could watch
Hmm.
it on her phone that you're talking about. Because since she's always on her phone, like you said, maybe she can watch the video or listen to the podcast, and that could be the point of, okay, well, they said, so let's maybe do some action steps. Like, what are we going to do during this week to do what the podcast suggested or
Hmm.
something like that? But you can't come in hot the way you came in hot on this Reddit post, ma'am. You can't do it.
No. Mm-mm. And ultimately, this is her own life and the decisions that she will have to live with. If this is what it just is what it is. I mean,
Yeah.
even if this was your family member, even that's still a delicate situation. These are her children,
Yeah.
and I don't know. You girl, you're pregnant with your second. Listen, motherhood and children will humble you real quick. So,
Okay. But you guys let us know what you think. These are our thoughts.
mm,
Let us know in the comments, and we will see you guys on the next video.
bye.
Bye.